Hi everyone, my name is Joe Rungee and I'm a water resources engineer at Stantec in Nashville, Tennessee. Well, I was asked to make a video about something that I think really helped my career, and when thinking about it, I kept coming to programming. And it has such a wide range of applications within the engineering world and outside of it. It's opened a lot of doors for me and it's allowed me to participate in some really cool projects. So I know a lot of people hear programming and they think that it's going to be more difficult than it really is, and it looks kind of scary, but it really isn't. And so I wanted to go through a quick example that um, sounds very simple in concept, but gets pretty difficult pretty fast. And I want to show that programming can make it a lot easier. So when I go through this, I'm going to break down the code as I discuss it. And I'm not expecting anybody at all to understand. My hope is that you do, but what I really want you to take away is that it really can make a big difference and save a lot of time. So let's get onto it. So if we open up an Excel spreadsheet, I decided that if I'm going to do this, I'm going to try and show an example of how you do it in Excel and show how long it can take. And so let's say you're having a pizza party and you're going to have some friends over and you need a total of 3 pizzas. And let's say you have a really great pizza place in your town, but they only offer cheese and pepperoni. So if you're ordering some cheese and pepperoni pizzas and you're ordering 3 of them, how many combinations of cheese and pepperoni can you have? Well, you can have 3 cheese and 0 pepperoni, 2 cheese and 1 pepperoni, 1 cheese, 2 pepperoni, and 0 cheese and 3 pepperoni. So not difficult to calculate that. You have 4 options, and it didn't take very long to do. Well, let's say that a new chef comes to town, works at the same pizza place, so still great pizza, but he adds 3 new types of pizza. So now we have a total of 5 types. So we'll say we have now cheese, pepperoni, veggie, mushroom, and Hawaiian. So just to keep space open, let's move this over. So how many total combinations do we have now? Well, fortunately, there's an equation to calculate that. And so that equation will be your total number plus your total types minus 1 factorial. So in case you've forgotten or not familiar with factorial, that's just, it's just multiplying by in a sequentially decreasing pass. So for instance, if we have this, so num plus types minus 1 is 7. 7 factorial would be 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And so the numerator of this equation is this. The denominator would be num factorial times types minus 1 factorial. So our total combinations will come out to factorial of your nums plus your type minus 1, and that will be divided by the factorial of your numbers times the factorial of your types minus 1. And so that comes out to a total of 35 combinations, which still doesn't sound, terrible. It's not a whole lot, but let's try and figure out what all those combinations are. So we have an option of 3 cheese, then 0 of everything else, 2 cheese, 1 pepperoni, 0 of everything else, 2 cheese, 1 pepperoni, or 0 pepperoni, 1 veggie, 0 of the other 2, then 2, 0, 0, 1, 0, then 2, 0, 0, 0, 1, and so on and so forth. So as you can see, this not only is going to take a lot longer to figure out, but once you start getting down to lower values and all these pepperoni, veggie, mushroom, and Hawaiian start adding more than 1s, it becomes really difficult to keep up with which combinations you've already used, and you end up introducing a lot of human error and will potentially either end up with more or less than 35 total combinations. So if you're able to program it, you're able to make sure when you program it that it's doing everything properly, and so you won't have any mistakes, and it will run extremely fast, and it'll allow you to manipulate it and add more complexity if you want. So let's give it a try. So this is a Python window. People get scared when they see this black screen where you're going to write some code, but it's really not that bad. So let's see, we'll start with our total number of pizzas is 3. And so what we'll do is we'll create a for loop. So start with cheese, for cheese in range 0. Python is a 0-based language, so you don't have to start with 0, but it sometimes makes more sense to start with 0. And we do want to have 0 to start with because you can't have 0 cheese pizzas. But because of this, we'll have to add 1 to our total number. So it would be num plus 1, and we want to increase every loop by 1. So what this is going to do is this is going to start at 0, and it's going to see what's going on beyond this, and it's going to see nothing's going on, so it's going to go again and again and again until it gets to 3. And to show this, we can print cheese, and it's going to count from 0 to 3, just like this. So we know it's working properly. And so now what we need to do is we need to copy. You can either retype it, but it's generally much faster just to copy and paste, and make sure you update your variables. And there we go. So now we have all of these loops, and the way these loops work, it'll start with cheese equals 0, then pepperoni, then veggie, mushroom, the Hawaiian all equals 0, and then it'll loop through all of the Hawaiian options, and then it'll go to a mushroom, and it'll add plus 1 to its current value, and then it'll go back to Hawaiian and add it all. So it does everything in reverse order from how we were doing it in a spreadsheet. But the only issue right now is that right now we're allowing there to be 0 pizzas, or we're allowing each one of these types to have 3. So we have to set a rule to make sure that we're only getting 3 pizzas. And you can do that by what's called an if statement. So in this case, we'll say if cheese plus pepperoni plus veggie plus mushroom plus Hawaiian is exactly equal to 3 pizzas, then we'll continue forward. Otherwise, it'll think that there's nothing here, and it'll just go to the next loop. So we'll say print this denotes a variable. So I'm just saying that there's going to be some variable here, and it's going to correspond with cheese pizzas. 1 will be pepperoni, 2 will be veggie, 3 will be mushroom, and 4 will be Hawaiian. And so we'll type this dot format, which allows us to say which variables go where, and we'll say cheese, pep, veg, mush, and Hawaiian. So now when we print this, we should get all 35 combinations. So let's try it out. And there we go. So we can look through this and count them, but I promise that it's 35. We can verify that by coming to the bottom, since it's reversed order, and say if we start from the bottom and go up to this 2, this should be identical to what we created in the Excel spreadsheet. So we have 3 cheese, 0 pepperoni, 0 veggie, 0 mushroom, 0 Hawaiian, 2 cheese, 1 pepperoni, 0, 0, 0, 2, 0, 1, 0, 0, 2, 0, 0, 1, 0, and 2, 0, 0, 0, 1. So that is the same thing we have here. So it seems to be working correctly. Okay, well, now let's get to something a little more fun. So let's let's go to 3 total, just to make it a little simpler. We'll go to 3. So we'll need to make sure we get rid of these variables since they no longer exist. Same thing here and here. So now if we print this, we should be able to, we should get the total number for 3 types and 3 pizzas. And if we come to our little equation, we'll say, okay, we should have a total of 10 combinations. So if we come back to our code, we run it, there we go. We have 10 combinations, so we know that our program is currently still working correctly. So to add a little more excitement, let's do a little bit of a cost analysis. So let's say the cost of a cheese pizza is $5, the cost of a pepperoni is $10, and the cost of a veggie is $15. They're putting a lot of veggies on their pizzas. And let's say that the total number of money you have is $30. So this is the most you can spend, no more. And so you were trying to figure out, all right, we know that there are these 10 combinations, but can I afford all 10 of these combinations? And we can do that by calculating the cost. So in this loop, we will say your cost is equal to the cost of your cheese pizzas times the number of cheese pizzas you have, plus the cost of your pepperoni times the number of pepperonis you have, plus the cost of your veggie times the number of veggie pizzas you have. And we can add that to our rules. So we add it by saying and. So now now our total number of pizzas has to equal 3, and our total cost must be less than or equal to the amount of money we have. So to test it out, let's print out all our now potential combinations, and let's see total is, and add this to our output, so we now know how much everything's going to cost. So let's start with a fresh terminal, so there's no more numbers to be confused with, and we'll run it. And there we go. We went from 10 options to now 6 options. And as you can see, it tells us what our total cost is. So if if we want to save some money, we can just get 3 cheese pizzas. It's $15. This also shows that it knows that we cannot have 3 veggie pizzas. It knows we cannot have 2 veggies and either a pepperoni or a cheese. So it automatically knows for us what we can and can't have, and it did it for you. So I hope this has been a very interesting and ideally educational experience, and I hope this helped explain why I find this so beneficial. I try to use this in my daily life, and I hope that at least some of you will look into it, and maybe some of you will become a much better programmer than I am. But anyway, I just wanted to show you guys this, and thank you.